Hello, everyone. I'm JEAN-CLAUDE, Beyond Mystic, and welcome to this evening's Beyond the News. We are breaking news with the lovely and talented Janine. You can find her work at tarotbyjanine.com and also here on the Academy. Janine, welcome back. How are you?
Hi, Jean-Claude. Hi, everybody. I'm doing good.
Janine, for the audience members who might not have seen the special Tuesday night show where Astrid decoded your 12 months transit for you, do you want to give them a little bit of an update? How was that episode for you? And are you still kind of shaken up by some of the information?
Shaken up, but not just that. I really want more. Like we didn't have time. We only had an hour, but I really want to, I just want to get a more input from her because she was so right on about some things, like
Yeah.
especially like I've never had aspects done. I've often had a lot of people, different people looking at my birth chart in general, which is really fun too. That's a fun read. And so she was dead on with that. And anyone listening would agree, like she really nailed me, really, to the point of we were giggling away, you and I, because she was getting some good good truths on me that she couldn't have known. I don't know Astrid really at all. I've never met her.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting to know her here on the Beyond Mystic. So yeah, she had no input whatsoever other than what the chart, and she was nailing it. But
Yeah.
then she was doing aspecting, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's the part about astrology. I don't know how they get it, but she hit on dates and said profound things would be happening on these, not necessarily dates, but around this time in your life. And she was right on at the ages that profound shifts happened. And
She was
she,
talking about your North Node and South Node conjunctions.
yeah, and
The-
when
Yeah.
yeah, when they come around, I think it was every 18 years or something. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but it was an aspect I hadn't ever heard of. So it's really fun when somebody can pick out different things like that and just nail situations in your life. It just makes things like you can understand yourself better and why you're doing what you're doing. It was really good.
Exactly. And isn't that the whole point? So, guys, if you haven't seen this candid interview where Janine is a good sport enough to do this live in front of an audience, please check out the Tuesday episode here with Astrid. You can find that here on YouTube and also on a Rumble feed. And if you're looking to maybe give Astrid a try for yourself without necessarily booking a full one-on-one session just yet, she is new to the community, please do go and check her out here on the Academy page. If you click on this button here, it'll bring you to the 12 sign by sign predictions here for the year. So you can pick your ascendant sign, your rising sign, and your moon sign for the low price of $3.99. And it's about an hour's worth of decoding for you here and your main transits for 2026. So if you haven't tried that out, please do go check it out. That really, really low entry point here and a lot of information there in that 1 hour. And please feel free also, there is a 12 package bundle if you want to buy it for yourself to have all your sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign, and also for that of your families. Maybe it's worth it as well. So a lot of things are happening in 2026, a lot of change, and the rate of change is accelerating. So any insights you might get in your life to try to navigate this might be advantageous for you. So please do go and check it out here on the Academy. All right, Janine, you were absolutely on fire today. Tipping at windmills and having a bit of a rant.
Uh-oh.
My inbox is full of comments. They're like, JC, did you hear Janine today? I'm like, yeah, we did a 3 p.m. show. She did
I
talk
was
about,
kicking some butt.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for the audience who haven't seen the Beyond Ravens quick draw Thursday today, Janine, what were you ranting about? What was the passion coming from?
Well, I was just ranting about religions. Sorry, I know it's difficult for people to hear this if they're sensitive, but religions that were created, like what the Iranian people are tearing down right now. They've
Mhm.
been under this oppression of Islam, and it's not their original religion, and it's not who they are, according to a lot of them. Like a lot of them, and I even personally know some families that escaped from uh, Iran when it was this was first coming in.
Right.
Anyway, now it's all coming down, and I was ranting about just what they do to women, like that doctrine, and that
Yeah.
how like people need to think for themselves and stop following doctrines written by who knows who. Nowadays we need to question everything that we're you can't just blindly follow something if you don't look into what actually who created that, what was it created for, what is it doing to you. We need to think for ourselves. So I was kind of passionate about thinking for ourselves and evolving spiritually.
And to be clear, you had the same consternations and objections to the Catholic religion
Yep.
as you were brought up as a kid. So
That-
it's not about just being against Islam. It's
no,
about being against these control structures that in many cases are not good for humanity, and that's what you were so passionate about here today.
yeah,
So I see quite a few people in the chat saying, "Oh yeah, we love Janine's rants," so that's good. Okay. So, anyways, if you haven't seen that show, please do go check it out. Please note that this evening also we have a full hour show for you guys, but at the end of that too, we have a special guest coming on for a special announcement also here on Beyond Mystic. You don't want to miss that. That's going to be towards the end of the show. And also, I encourage you to listen carefully to all of the Janinisms throughout the night, and perhaps people, places, and dates. We are going to be giving away one of these amazing new T-shirts here. These are the creations, of course, of Carla at Ascension Organites. If you go to ascensionorganites.com, you can get this beautiful absurd T-shirt from Janine here, 10% off with coupon code Beyond Mystic in one word. And I think I also have some beautiful soaps from Alien also tonight to give away. I think it's this one here. So we'll be giving away that also at the end of the show. You don't want to miss that. So stay tuned. Janine, why don't we start here? You and I did the quick draw, sorry, the Beyond the News viewer question edition at 3 p.m. Eastern today. And I had asked you to look into the energies going into next week. And I thought it would be advantageous for us to do this again live here for this audience who might not have seen that episode, just to kind of settle us in here as to what to expect coming forward in the next couple of days. This week has been absolutely crazy. We're seeing more and more breakages in the background here. We saw the banks that are about to fall in Iran. We're getting a lot of reports. You've looked at this also on your world news on tarotbyjanine.com, that this would cause a contagion and that we weren't that far behind. So there's a lot of stuff happening, and people are a little bit nervous here as to all of those changes. So let's do that. Do you want to do a 7-card poll for this one?
Sure.
Yep. Again, just to kind of map out this next week so we know a little bit more here what to expect, and perhaps even better how to navigate all of this. Judy.
Wow. Major arcana is like, that's 4 in a row. That's absurd. Oh my goodness, that's 5 major arcanas. Like, honestly, I didn't separate my cards into major arcanas.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you get another one.
Oh my goodness, this is absurd. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major arcanas. 7. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That in the last 5 years of me interviewing you has never, ever happened.
No.
Wow.
Okay, so I think we're getting okay, I'm going to just be honest. Major arcanas, even 3 or 4 of them, talking way bigger than the next week. So I think the universe wants to talk about the coming times we're in.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is much bigger. You can't just talk about the next week with that many major arcanas.
It makes sense.
Okay. And so this is much bigger, much a wider scope here. So we've got the emperor in the past. I feel like this is a government card, can be a government card. It's really well aspected. So this would be good leaders. And I can only think of really a good bunch right now that I would call good leaders. The only leadership I'm seeing that is any good would be Trump. And I believe it's because he's also with the White Hat Alliance. Yeah. I feel like that's a group that would be considered good leadership, in my opinion. So good leadership in the past, leading us into the sun. So this is, there's gold attached to this. There's a better money system. There's a bigger sense of this card's abundance. The golden age. I feel like this group is leading us into the golden age, like he's been talking about. I really think we are going to a better time for humanity, but the hidden influences, there's still some treacherous times to get through. So the moon is, you still got to go through a scary road here. See how these guys, this is like representing the human ego here,
Mm-hmm.
that lobster. Yeah. And it's got to get through this treacherous gateway, okay, to get to, and also it's got to get through some illusion and delusion, because moonlight can be about illusions and delusions. So we still have to break the illusions. We still have to break a lot of programming as humanity to get to this, that this group's trying to move us over to. There's still a lot of people that'll have to go through some scary times, and times that are going to be hard for them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The star card, so that's the next thing coming. So a big thing to realize is we are going to have to deal with what we call extraterrestrial, otherworldly, under the ground, underwater beings other than humans, hybrids, like maybe these are from outer space and maybe they're from inner earth. We don't know where like, I'm not sure where they're coming from, maybe all of the above. So we're still going to have to discover. There's a lot to discover about that. That feels like a really big thing we have to tackle, or really understand. Light has to be shed on this, okay, to get over here, but we're headed to what Trump's been calling the golden age. We're headed over there, a time when humanity, and we're going to deserve it. Okay, we're going to deserve it because we've been really messed over. Once you start looking into our history, we've been kind of screwed from every which direction. Fed poison, fed lies, like horrifying stuff. I could have never 10 years ago, I would have never believed that if you sat me down and told me that. Okay, we had to see it with our own eyes. A lot of us woke up in the last 6 or 7 years. Some people have been awake for 10, 20 years, and that's amazing. I feel for those people, because the rest of us were still dense, like I was, for sure. I know, Jean-Claude, you've been aware of a lot more things than I was. Okay, but boy, I had a big education right about lockdown time. It was like a light turned on in my mind. It was,
Oh, me too, Janine. Me too. I don't profess or pretend to be any more advanced than anybody else here on the channel. It was a huge awakening also for me, 2020,
yeah.
for sure.
And these cards are talking that big of what's going on. Now, these two are interesting. We've got the Chariot and the Fool. So things could go very fast from here on in. Like, it's been kind of slow, but this card speeds everything up. And it almost feels reckless. So it'll feel reckless. And we might even think what Trump's doing and or the White Hat Alliance is doing is reckless. A lot of people already think that. I mean, he gave that guy the finger the other day. Like, he's kind of like a loose cannon. Like, he's always been a bit of a loose cannon, but now he's okay. I'm going to acquire Greenland no matter what. Like, come easy or come hard, we're getting Greenland. And like, a lot of people are using that, of course, the haters, to point out what a reckless guy he is. You know what I mean? So it feels like things could go a little crazy and reckless and fast and in directions that we're not expecting. So even this audience may not be expecting some of the things, and it might even get a little random. I feel like it already has. There's been random things happening that don't quite make sense or weave into the theater or what we thought was the movie, right? They don't always, like, I feel like we might be able to put them as a part of the puzzle later, but it's going to seem a little bit random and kind of quirky here. And that could have something to do with, we just entered into, or we're really close to, not quite there yet, really close to the Aquarian age, but also the time of Aquarius. Okay, I think it's the 19th this year. We're going to, and that's close, right? That's in a few days. We're going to be in Aquarius energy on top of where we got the age of Aquarius and some aspects that are really pushing on Aquarian energy. And this card feels really Aquarian sometimes, where things get a little wacky and crazy. Now,
Can I just add something there before you get to the death card?
Yeah.
When I was speaking to Astrid earlier today, we were planning some of the new courses that we're going to bring out this year. And we were having this conversation about, you remember how in Project Looking Glass, those who were in charge of it had reported that at a certain point they could no longer see past a certain time. Astrid suggested that perhaps that had something to do with a specific alignment that happened in or about 2012. And she's saying that that particular alignment, which brought down a big fog upon us, preventing us from seeing too far ahead, is going to be lifted, I think, as early as next month, or maybe March even. So, meaning that suddenly the fog is lifted, we're going to see things. And when you say there's some things that are odd, we're going to be like, what the hell is that all about? All of a sudden, it doesn't fit in the picture, but suddenly we'll see it. And it might have been there for the last 12 or 13 years, but we just couldn't see it with all the fog. So I thought that was interesting to mention. Keep going with that last card here, the death card.
Yeah, the death card. So nothing's as we thought it was, and we'll never ever go back to where humanity will never repeat back over there. We're never going to be in that position we were. And some people might call it the good old days. Other people are glad to be rid of it. I keep seeing posts where people are like, oh, I wish things would go back to the 70s again. I never want to revisit the 70s myself. No, thanks. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be that not in the know. Like we were being heavily indoctrinated in those years, even if we were blissfully ignorant. And I never want to be blissfully ignorant ever again. Thank you very much. I'm happy to, that death card's welcome. I welcome that.
Yep.
I don't want to see those times. I just want to go forward, and I want to get wiser and come more into our true potential. And I feel like that's where we're going, but it's hard work. These cards are saying it's still going to take time and it's hard work. These two below here. So we've got the Four of Wands, which is breakthrough, but at a cost. Like we're going to have a combination. I feel like this is more talking about the next few months where there's big breakthroughs, but really hard truths. And so it'll be like in a week, in each week we look at, we'll probably have, wow, that was amazing. But oh my God, this was really hard over here. And things will be hard won. And there's a lot of hard work with this card, but then some really great breakthroughs. So we're going to need to really focus on what makes us happy and what we're going to call a breakthrough. If we only focus on the hard part, it's going to make it harder.
Okay. Wow. I wasn't expecting that much of a right hook, uppercut, and punch combination there. That's pretty cool, Janine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope somebody takes a photo of this. I've never seen that many major arcanas in anybody's reading all in a row like that. That's outrageous.
Yeah. It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd. All right. Somebody was just at 7 of those. Yeah. Somebody was just asking me for Cliff High's link to the old web data. Okay, so let me just bring that up on the site for you guys here, guys. They're probably asking about that now because of what's happening with silver, but also all of these governmental changes and shift that have long been predicted, including the death of the dollar here in some of these older web data reports. Now, to note, these are not all of them. These were mostly some of the Alta files and some of the bare naked wealth reports that had to do with Bitcoin, crypto in general, gold and silver. This is what people were asking for at the time when Joe and I had put together the crypto crash courses. And Cliff was kind enough to have me repost that for you guys here. So the link is beyondmystic.net/Cliff High. And to be clear, these are the unabridged report. You can find them on the web, but they've been messed with, tampered, deleted, added to. These are the ones that are originally from Cliff. So let me just bring that back down in the link for you guys. And I'll also put that here in the Rumble link. So there you go, for those of you asking. And interestingly enough, also, let me just bring this up also, because Janine and I talked about this on the Monday show. But JSNIP4, just a couple of days ago, he put out a video. JSNIP4, I'll see what it's called. I think it was called Cliff High's Data or something like that. Yeah, so let me go here. Okay, so he's holding up a Beyond Mystic silver bar there that I had given him. But in here, he's talking about an older WebBot data report from 2015 to 16. And as he was reading the line-by-line report, he's like, dude, it's like reading it, but for 2025, 2026, as though Cliff's report were actually 10 years ahead of time. So if you want to see that video also too, it'll give you a little bit of an indication here as to what's happening with silver, gold, and very shortly also in terms of officialdom, the government's capacity to hold on to power, the hyperinflation, the death of the dollar, all that stuff is in those reports. So Joe was kind enough to put this little synopsis to you guys, for you guys here. I think it's about 10 or 12 minutes long. You don't want to miss that. And also go to the page if you want to download those reports from Cliff. Let me bring this link also down for you guys in the live chat. There you go. And one more time here. I think we're going to be good. Okay. Wow, Janine, that was something. So you just mentioned Trump being perhaps inappropriate, or at least the mainstream news is definitely saying that he's inappropriate with this. This happened a couple of days ago to where a heckler at one of his events was accusing President Trump of being a pedophile protector, that he was protecting pedophiles here. He's been in office now since January. A lot of people still waiting for the Epstein list and all of the justice that should be coming from those investigations. And yet the population, for the most part, have been treated to a lot of gaslighting, we have to admit, over the last year, to the point where there's a list, it's on Pam Bondi's desk, it's going to be tomorrow, and then there's no list, and then what are you talking about? So it's been a rock and roll kind of situation here with respect to getting any type of clarity from officialdom and also justice. So far, we haven't seen it, to the point where now Hillary and Bill Clinton, who were supposed to testify in October, it was pushed back to January, they just missed their dates also to testify in front of Congress this week. So they are now in contempt of Congress. Again, prompting a lot of people who are looking for justice to say, hey, President Trump, what the hell are we doing? Why don't we have justice on this yet? I saw a clip earlier today, Janine, and I want to share it with you. This is from the Sean Ryan show. Let me just quickly change decks because we need the audio on this one. Sean is not too happy about this either, and I think he's echoing what a lot of Americans are thinking right now. So I'll play the clip, and then I'll ask you to give us maybe some clarity, if we can, with the cards again. So here we go.
I got really fucking pissed off at the Democrat Party because the maps, the minor attracted persons shit before Trump came into office, we talked about it all the time. Now, I mean, why are we protecting? Why is the White House protecting pedophiles? Why is the White House protecting pedophiles? I just don't understand it, Ro. I can't fucking get it through my head why we would protect pedophiles. The other thing is, this country has the biggest fucking problem with sex exploitation and sex trafficking in the world. We can talk about fucking Venezuela and Mexico and Ukraine and Russia and fucking China and waste, fraud, and abuse and fucking liberals this and Democrats this and Republicans. And we have a pedophile problem. We have a fucking pedophile problem in this country, and nobody's doing anything about it in government except you and Thomas Massey. What the fuck is going on?
You know how I know this? Because
is everybody in government a fucking pedophile now? What the fuck is happening?
Okay,
I got really
that's an edited clip. Nonetheless, I think Sean is pissed, and like you today, you were on a rant. Sean
He's in the same mood I'm in.
Yeah, he's in a ranting mood. It was like spot on, Sean Ryan. Yeah. So language, yeah, sure, for sure. But we live in profane times, and sometimes profanity is definitely part of it. So let's look at that, Janine. We're moving into this crazy world. It seems that the channel is going to be changed very quickly here, whether it's on the ET front, the government front, the digital ID, the censorship, and also in a very big way, and it's happening now behind the scenes, even though you're not being told by mainstream news, the financial system is shifting behind us right now with the breakages of the price discovery model in silver and gold. We're going to get into that a little bit later into the show. So those are all avenues to change the channel away from actually dealing with these pedophiles and getting justice on one hand, and on the other hand, protecting our children. That's what is really all about. And if you're not bringing justice to the pedophiles, you are not protecting children. And so I can understand Sean's aggravation, and a lot of Americans also watching this saying, what the hell is going on? Janine, let's do a poll on that.
So how are we saying it, the question itself?
At this point, I want an update. I think the audience would like an update as to are we going to get justice on this anytime soon? Or are all these other things that you just mentioned in your first poll going to take away attention from this? And this is going to go in the back burner, and some of these people might still go scot-free without us even knowing what the hell happened. While you pull that up, let me bring up the second slide here. This is a couple of days ago. Breaking news: Hillary Clinton will now be held in contempt of Congress after refusing to testify before Oversight Committee in the Epstein investigation, along with Bill Clinton. Both of them didn't show up. Again, so here they're saying nobody's above the law, says James Comer. Hillary joined her husband in disobeying the subpoena. But at what point do we get justice? Or do we just get a change of channel with everything else that's going on, Janine? That's the question.
Well, it does look like they're going to drag out some other things first. Like,
Yeah.
does look like things will come first. I feel like right away here, this is in the right now. What's happening in other places in the world are going to take kind of like in other countries. So the falling of governments in other countries, we're watching that, and we've been watching that for quite a while. Right now it's Iran, but there's been lots of different countries fallen where their government fell. So that we're watching that in real time. So there's things that are going to happen, and it'll take about, like this card timing wise, about a month and a half. And I feel like they may segue it really intensely into it, or the pedophile problem, when they arrest this woman. Okay, Hillary. And whenever I looked at it, I always got the big first arrest. I know some people think it was that Venezuelan guy. I don't think so.
No.
I feel like it's going to be Hillary, and like it kind of tosses up between her and Barack, right, Obama. But I feel like Hillary. But anyway, so a big arrest of one of these pedophiles, and then all that, we go into that.
Right. Okay. Let's bring up this comment. It's a fair comment. Jigs to you too. This Sean Ryan is clueless. He has no idea what's really going on. Derek Johnson will show all what's going on. You're propagating nonsense here. Respectfully, I disagree. Sean Ryan absolutely knows what's going on. And he also has access to whistleblowers, military types, who are very much indeed involved in current operations behind the scenes that are dealing with pedophile networks, adrenochrome networks. That is not what Janine and I just pulled on. What we're pulling on is the public perception of most of the normies thinking, as the young gentleman was screaming at President Trump the other day, that nothing is being done because they're not seeing justice. That's what we're talking about. And that is also what Sean Ryan is talking about, because don't forget, in a couple of months from now, we're heading into the midterms. This is very important for this president to have approval ratings. And if the left continues to badger him as we're seeing now, and if the right is also questioning whether or not he is protecting pedophiles because they're not seeing the justice being played out in mainstream news, it could become problematic, not just for this president, but for the white hats who are indeed on humanity's side and trying and currently engaged in a war at that level. That just to be very clear here as to what we're talking about. Janine, do you want to add to that before we move to the next section?
Nope. I think you covered how I think about it too.
Okay. Next up, so let's go back to this silver stuff. So we're hitting we hit 105 or a little bit more in China. This is a couple of days ago. In the States right now, silver is about $13 behind in the spot price. So there's a big dislocation already in what's happening between the paper COMEX and what's happening in the real world, the physical exchanges at the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Now, why that's important is typically this would create an opportunity for arbitrage, to where traders would buy the cheap metal in New York and pay to have it stored, delivered, shipped, insured to China, and make that arbitrage profit. This is not happening right now. There's something broken in the background. Now, just in the last couple of days, we've seen some assassination attempts in the silver market here, where we're seeing some huge fluctuations. But at the same time, we're still seeing the West here just stand for delivery and they're buying all of the dips. And just last assassination attempt lasted maybe 6 hours. We dropped down to $83 yesterday, or this morning went back up to 91, 92. And I think we're sitting there right now. Let me see if I can bring this up for you guys. Yeah, so we're sitting at 90, 92, 39 on the US side of things here. Anyways, this is regardless of what's happening, about 10 or 15 bucks higher in China. Now, Janine, what's important and what you and I have not yet pulled on is this proclamation by President Trump. Now, a couple of months ago, the US administration had reclassified silver as a strategic metal. This was a shot across the bow. And for anybody listening, they understood that, oh, silver is no longer a pet rock. Even though the mainstream news didn't decode that for you, it meant that something was happening in the background. We had the news also late fall that China was going to close their doors on exporting silver being produced in China. And that happened as of January 1st. Since then, we had the G7 meet in emergency earlier this week to discuss supply chain management. And now President Trump's declaration or proclamation from earlier today. Let me see if I can bring that up on the list. You can find more details on the Zero Hedge article, but let me bring this to you as well. Here he's talking about putting a floor below the price mechanisms for gold and silver and other precious metals here in a strategic fashion, and any other type of legislation here to protect the supply of critical minerals for the United States. Now, this has not been discussed thoroughly in mainstream news since this was put out, but it's a huge shot across the bow here. Just 2 weeks ago, the Pentagon, Department of Defense, and JP Morgan invested $7.2 or $7.5 billion to create this new refinery here in Tennessee, the United States. So they want to control this precious metal. They need it for defense purposes, strategic purposes, electric cars, solar panels, health industry, and so forth. And what we're seeing around the world is that the doors are closing and people are becoming very, very strategic with the precious metals. This is why this is not a bubble. It's not a tulip mania. There is something structurally different that has just occurred here in the last, let's say, month or two on this particular file. I saw a mainstream news analyst looking at the Fibonacci curve the other day, and he came up with $615 per ounce for silver. So we're seeing manifest now. Again, this is why the person was asking earlier in the show about these older WebBot data reports. So let me ask you this. We're January 15 right now. We're sitting at 93 USD. We're already across the 100 or the triple digit number in Asia right now. But will we here in North America hit the triple digits before the end of the month? Let's do that poll first. And when I asked you this in December, I think we're at 80 bucks or something. It was looking encouraging. And he said, oh, there's going to be some choppy seas. We're going up, but there's going to be a lot of choppiness. And that's exactly what happened since the last time I asked you this question. And for the people who are just new to all this and they don't necessarily get the nuance of the $100 silver, that American Eagle there is denominated as a $1. Think about that for a moment. That silver coin is still a silver coin from 100 years ago, from 1,000 years ago. It hasn't changed. It's still 1 troy ounce of silver, but it used to be valued at $1. Now it takes 100 of your US dollar, your Federal Reserve notes, to purchase this same coin. So what really is happening? It's not silver that's going up. It's your paper money that's burning really, really fast. So this is what I'm telling you here. We're getting into that full spread that Janine was talking about with the 7 major arcanas. Big, big, big changes coming up. And I hope you've made your research, and I hope that you have your positions outside of the system to navigate this as best you can here as we move forward. So Janine, that first salvo to get to that triple digit here in the US, are we hours away, days away?
Yeah, like saying it already happened according to that, but
yeah.
So yes, it's absolutely, we're on it. We're going past it.
Yeah. In that old report, if you guys go back to the video that Jason Ford put out the other day, $600 from Cliff, by the way, was never the ultimate number. It was just the number to suggest that we were in a brand new territory, that the world was very different at that point, that this would create huge pressures for governments alike and financial systems, and that everything would change from that point forward. He also had that silver was going to soon after that hit $1,000 per ounce, and then at some point parity with gold. So that's also in the cards. But in between there was this critical word, the word that everybody wants to hear about, unobtainium. And so we're starting to see that now in mainstream news, because the US Mint just a couple of days ago have suspended sales of all of the numismatic coins. And they say that it's because they have a pricing issue with their website. The volatility is so high that they can't price their silver. That's code word for either they don't have the silver to sell, or they're stockpiling it, hoarding it, because they know that if they sell today at 93 bucks, they could probably sell it for 200 or 300 in a couple of weeks from now. And this was the dilemma that Andy Schectman suggested at the conference in March last year, the Beyond Mystic conference, that he had often had that conversation with his dad as to when that moment would happen, that he would turn that sign on his business to stay sold out and just wait to see what was happening, even though there was willing buyers at the door. Can I have you pull on that, Janine? And I don't want to make it about Andy Schectman, but most of these bigger retailers, are they at the point here to just say, hey, we're sold out for now, we're not selling until we have a better clarity on price, whether it's $200, $300, or $600 an ounce? When do we get to no offer? That is also in the WebBot data reports.
Okay.
Again, that will give an indication to people here that the window is closing very, very rapidly here to get those positions if they are not already pre-positioned in their precious metals portfolio and allocations. Hey, Lisa. She says, yeah, Dix knows. Yeah, he's been doing a lot of good reports on this too. Go check him out at rotoruta.com on YouTube.
I think another month, maybe a month and a half.
Okay, for the last 4 months now, you've been picking on February, end of February and March, that there's huge changes. And this brings us into mid-February also here. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. And what Trump did today too, with the proclamation, could be a precursor or a trial balloon to also somehow nationalizing silver and gold that is already here on U.S. soil. There was a viewer earlier today in the viewer questions show who asked if their retirement account that were being saved in silver dollars and stored in some of these institutions, whether or not they were safe. And the answer, Janine Pohl, was no, actually, there is risk there, either of being pushed out of your positions and paid out in cash, or maybe even litigation. That's how close we are to weird things happening here, and everybody running or for the doors, but for the exits, but also for that one chair if they're playing musical chairs here with IOUs for their silver allocations. Anything more you want to say on that here, Janine, before we go to the next segment?
No,
No?
I think that covers it.
Okay.
Yeah, like we're looking at weeks, and it's between 4 and 8, like if I got real technical. And then this says, so that's when they turn their back on you basically and say, no, we're not selling.
Okay, very good. On that same note, we've had some weird news about XRP in the last couple of days. And I say weird because it didn't come from our traditional news here in the West. It was coming from Germany. In this particular video, I'll bring the link down for you guys as well. This gentleman is explaining that stock exchanges around the world will soon be using XRP Ledger to run their systems. And I have it paused here at the screen. He's talking about targets of $7, $8, or $9 each per XRP. Now, that was interesting also because the last time I had Dick Allgeier from Crypto Viewing on the show, that was also one of the target numbers that they had remote viewed quite a few months ago. It was also the number that Heidi Vandenberg told me she was sussing out for XRP. After that, though, in that particular clip, they talked about $200 or $300 per XRP as this was installed more ubiquitously around the world in other stock exchanges. Janine, let's revisit this one. This is an all-time favorite on the show, most popular question. I remember when XRP was in litigation with the SEC, you keep getting that it would get out of trouble water, and everybody laughed at you and mocked you. And it's similar to tonight there with a lot of mean comments in the live chat. But here we are. XRP is no longer in litigation with the SEC. And we're seeing more and more reports here that it could, in fact, be used, at least temporarily, in a reboot of sorts here, or a new offer of a financial system that could be sooner rather than later. So let's just do a general poll on XRP for those who have not been studying or following this story here. What do they need to know about this coin? And I have to add this also, because when we spoke about that the other night, Ripple, yeah, so the company that owns XRP, Lisa, you're correct, but you understand where I'm going with that. Cliff High was never a big fan of XRP for a number of years, but he had recently made a turn on that to where he purchases on XRP. He had mentioned that in his Substack, saying that it would, even if it's temporarily, make some people extraordinarily wealthy, in the sense that his opinion was, and I'm paraphrasing here, go check out his own Substack, that it would be used at least very temporarily here and pimped up by officialdom in a financial system reboot, and that in that period of time it would grow immensely before it crapped out, before we replaced it with a brand new system. So again, buyer beware there. If you're going to be investing in XRP, there is a window. This is not an evergreen hold for the rest of your life type of crypto. So again, go check out those reports by Cliff, and also his latest statements on his Substack. What do you see here, Janine, on XRP?
So it's been worrisome in the past, but a lot of people stress and worry about it, or somehow that's what's being picked up here in the cards. But then this card says, but actually it'll work out way better than people think. This card says a lot of the stresses it faced work themselves out in the background. And that could even be talking about all of the things that were happening in the past, where people were thinking it was going to get taken right off the board, when in fact it got out of all of that trouble, like you just talked about. I feel like that might be what that was talking about there. Okay, so it was kind of a small, like it wasn't making you rich or anything in the past, moving into a time when it's moving up. I'd say in the next even 2 months, and June for some reason looks really good for it, or June and onward. And so it eventually does seem to go quite, like, this is a luxurious card. So people are gonna make some money, and it feels like it could be as soon as June when you really see some big change there in the positive.
Very good. Thank you, Janine. TZ1950 says, not just temporarily, JC, do your research about XRP and see why. So this is not my comment. Again, I'm telling you what Cliff High had reported. So don't put words in my mouth, TZ. Nonetheless, I do have my own opinions, and they differ to yours, but that's okay. But just don't put words into my mouth. I was referring to what Cliff High's comments were on his last Substack. So just to be clear. Okay. Lots of tough questions today too, because a lot of people in the viewer questions, Janine, were asking about pensions, what happens on all of this, what happens to mortgages and all of this. And the short answer is we don't really know. It's going to be the wild, wild west in the new system, because it's not going to be applied equally across the board. So yes, there might be some new systems being put out in the background. They might take time. We might recuperate on the long term, but there's still as Janine pulled on the first card there's going to be a cost to all of this new awakening and some tough times there. So it behooves you to do your research and to take those positions for yourself, and not fear it, but education and spending time to understand what's happening is going to serve you really, really well here moving forward. On that note, Andy Sheckman and I are going to be producing a new course on the Academy on how to invest in precious metals. We're inundated, as he is also, with a lot of new people who've never invested in precious metals before. Suddenly they're all interested. At the fund show in Orlando 2 weekends ago, dealers were reporting that they were sold out within 2 hours, and it was all new faces, and a lot of them millennials. And they're like, what do I buy? How do I buy? How do I store it? All these things. So check the Academy here very shortly. Andy and I will be putting that out for you guys in a very succinct manner. In the meantime, if you guys are looking for precious metals here, namely silver, also the best deal right now on junk silver, constitutional silver, you can get it at 139 over a spot here. Just go to beyondmystic.net/silver and fill out the form below. Let Andy know what you're looking for, and he'll get that out in a short order for you guys. Okay, Janine, let's get to the deck here and go back to Greenland. Again, today, a lot of people asking about that. What the hell is happening? We're seeing warships position. Europe is sending warships. We have some delegates in Washington, D.C. And I think it was Medvedev earlier today, one of those Russian, I don't know if it was the defense minister. Let me see if I can find it, suggesting, Medvedev, Dmitry. He was saying that Greenland or Denmark wouldn't be doing anything to stop the U.S. from annexing Greenland. And they'll just sit and shit their pants and give up Greenland, quote unquote. So I was like, whoa, okay. There's some truth speaking for you there. You looked at this a couple of times already, both on your channel on TBJ and on Beyond the News, but we haven't really done it here on the public side. So can we do another poll on here to see where this goes, Janine? To note also, Trump is not the first president to want to purchase Greenland, although the mainstream news is saying he's crazy and that came out of the blue. That is absolutely not true. It's been in the cards for a long time. And when you look at this map, it kind of makes sense that President Trump is looking for this particular zone here for economic stability as well as defense. So very fascinating. Now, what do you see here in the cards, Janine, for Greenland?
I feel like he's already got it. Trump already, not Trump, like people when they say, oh, Trump already owns. No, he doesn't own it, but I believe the Alliance and the White Hat group already acquired or created a grouping of countries together. And that includes Canada, maybe Mexico. I'm thinking Greenland, Australia. I know it sounds crazy, but all the way to Australia. I feel like group Australia in there for some reason, but that's just what the cards have been saying. So it's already happened here. And a lot of what they're doing is just playing out some theater so everybody can understand why they would want to get it. There's so many reasons why they would want to be like, have that in their golden dome or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very fascinating. Now, keeping with Russia right now and the off-the-cuff comment from Medvedev, it seems that Tucker Carlson is also chiming in on whether or not Russia might be serious about considering using nuclear weapons against Europe. Let me play that clip first. Let's try to parse his words a little bit. If you want to shuffle, Janine, in the meantime, I'll come back to you for a question on this one.
Russia, and prepare yourselves because this is the global headline, Russia is actively considering the use of nuclear weapons against Europe. Not against Kiev, against Europe. Specifically, the UK and Germany. Just taking out the UK and Germany with nuclear weapons. That's a fact. Now, we're going to explain why we know that that's true in a moment. And at the end of this open, we're going to play an interview we did a few hours ago with a man called Sergei Karnagov, who is a longtime political advisor to Vladimir Putin and one of the most famous public intellectuals in Russia, been around for about 35 years, advised Boris Yeltsin, 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. And in that interview, he says point blank, yes, if the Ukraine war continues at this tempo for a year or two more, we, speaking apparently on behalf of the Russian government, on behalf of his friend Putin, or at least someone who's very familiar with President Putin's thinking, we, Russia, will eliminate the UK and Germany with nuclear weapons. Now, that's a headline.
It is a headline. Now, If you parse his words, he does say considering using. Okay, if this Ukraine thing lasts 1 or 2 more years, that's the statement. So let's not take it out of context. Now, Janine, this did bring a lot of people to ask questions on your channel and mine about whether or not this could come to fruition. You've pulled on this quite a few times already, and every time you do, it's a no, nothing burger. That said, it's back in the mainstream news. Still people asking us, do you want to revisit the possibility of nukes being used against, in this case, Germany and the UK, as per the Russian counterpart there that Tucker Carlson is talking about?
Well, that ace is interesting. Very interesting. So they did put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's in the past. So it's been put out there verbally. Swords are thoughts and words. So it's been spoken, and we just heard from Tucker, according to him, that it was a headline or something that was known. Okay, and that makes sense to that card. So I'd agree that that part's true. Okay, but other things are going to take us right off topic.
Well, that seems to be the case for a lot of almost everything that's going on. But that's interesting. So the intention, if in the next 2 years, that is true. But my question was, do they actually go out and use them? That's
No.
what we're still getting to know.
2 10s, shut it down.
Yeah.
And stop it. And this is an illusion card. And I feel like a lot of things are going to come in the way of it. And a lot of it could be, even the mentioning of it could be just about focusing on and or drawing your attention to things. So I don't even know if it was verbalized that it was the intention, but I'm not sure it was literally ever the intention.
Okay. All right, very good. We're 51 minutes in. I see that our special guest for the next segment is already in the green room. We have some prizes to give away first, so let me do that next. Janine, we have this amazing new bundle here from Carla at AscensionOrganites.com. Guys, there, if you use the coupon code BM10, we'll get 10% off. Janine, let's give away this beautiful new trio here from Aline. And also a quick note, we're very close to launching Aline's new candles also. And as promised, we are going to be giving the first opportunity to the Insider Access Pass, as well as the Tarot by Janine community, as soon as these are ready for launch. That's coming up very quickly. So please do check your schedule pages on both of those websites. But for tonight, we're giving away this little trio. And I think there's an extra one. There's a fourth one in there too. That is not on the screen. Do you have a question, Janine, for the audience members tonight for this one? You want to talk about a specific card?
Shoot, I can't even think.
No.
Specific. Okay. I just said 10s. So when you see 10s, what happens when you got 10s and you're asking for if something's going to happen or not?
Okay.
What did I just say about those 2 10s we saw in that reading?
Okay, very good. While we wait for that to populate, I think people already have the answer. Guys, of course, you can support the amazing Janine here at tarotbyjanine.com. You've just recorded World News again yesterday, I believe, Janine? Was it
Yeah, I
yesterday?
did. Yeah, yesterday World News, and then today I did the Thursday quick draw.
All right, very good. So, guys, you can support Janine and her work there for about the price of a cup of coffee per month. You get all the news, including the monthly zodiac spreads, and from time to time, also some very poignant interviews, and sometimes some chat rants from Janine. If you're interested in those, check it out at tarotbyjanine.com. Okay, so let me go back to the live stream. Janine, let me know when to stop the feed, and we'll pick a winner here for the soaps from Elaine.
Stop.
All right, endings and believe. And believe. There you go. Congratulations. That's the correct answer. If you go to if you go to beyondmystic.net, top of the page, just hit the tech support form there. Let us know you're the winner, and we'll get Aline to send these out to you here in short order. Next up is the absurd t-shirt collection here. Another Janinism on display for you guys. Amazing new t-shirts here. Creation from Carla at Ascension Organites. So please check it out there as well. AscensionOrganites.com is the website. Beyond Mystic, one word is the coupon code. Get 10% off there. Do you have another question, Janine, or you want me to go?
Well, I was going to say, what's that other, what's the name I get mixed up? That's could be another t-shirt. I feel like it should be a t-shirt too.
Okay. The name of a particular individual.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I think a lot of people know that one as well. That's pretty cool. In the meantime, yeah, guys, go check out ascensionorganize.com. Carla has a lot of cool creations there for you. Yeah, there's already some people who have the right answer, so that's pretty cool. And what else did I have? We have, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, just before we get into the next segment here too, if you haven't seen Janine's decode of her transits on the Tuesday night, I recommend you do go and check out that episode. You don't want to miss that. And also, I'd like to invite you to a very special show coming up this Sunday night, Beyond Critical. Brand new concept here with a young gentleman who's 20 years old and who's making waves in the truther community. He's from Canada. And we're going to have a lot of fun with him on Sunday night. We did showcase some of his amazing work dinner night on pay-per-view for the Insider Access Pass members. And we're very excited to share his opinions and his work with you guys here on the Sunday show. So you don't want to miss that. That's going to be at 8 o'clock Eastern. Here, of course, we're looking at the world in chaos, gold, silver, geopolitics from the perspective of a 20-year-old, including also the Tarot of Janine. So it's going to be a nice mix. And for all of you in our more senior age groups here tonight, we're having trouble sometimes understanding the youth of today. This episode is going to be for you, and you're going to be surprised at how very eloquent, well-spoken, and opinionated this young gentleman is. So I do recommend you come and watch the show here on Sunday night. Okay, Janine, let me go back to the screen here and get to the bottom of the screen. We'll try to pick another winner.
So we're looking for what I say when I mean the other guy. What I like, how I say it wrong. That's what we're looking for.
There's a lot of correct answers, Janine.
Yeah.
So just let me know when you want to stop the feed.
Stop.
All right. Come on. Carl Tuckerson, CNS 1000. Yes, Mr. Carl Tuckerson. That's correct. That should be on the t-shirt also. And wouldn't it be cool if you had that t-shirt on you? We went to an event, have you side by side with that guy. Wouldn't it be funny?
That'd be funny.
It would be funny. All right. Tucker Carlson is the name I was looking for. Now I was getting confused. So yes, CNS 1000. Again, just go to top of the page here, beyondmystic.net. Fill out that text support form, let us know you're the winner, and we'll get that out to you in a shorter order. Okay, next up, a very special guest, a brand new guest to the show. Some of you have met her at the conference in Ottawa. She is currently joining the Beyond Mystic team. You can find her here on the new consultation page for the human design reading, and you can find her also starting next week, every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the brand new redesign of the Beyond Healing franchise. It's the one and only Shannon. Shannon, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited to be here. I just want to say thank you to the community as well. A big part of me being on this show was attending the conference. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Shannon, for being on. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here and giving Shannon a warm welcome here. Not easy being on the first show this evening with Janine. Shannon, I want to take the opportunity. It's your first time actually on our live show with us here at Beyond Mystic. And I wanted to ask you, how universe, first of all, conspired to get you into the work that you're going into today. I don't want to get too far into the work. We'll get that into it a little bit later. But how was it for you as a child? How did you know you were different? And how did all of these things conspire here to change you from outside of the matrix, deep into outside of the Matrix now, Shannon?
Yes. So as a child, I was very connected to, I was interested in aliens and ghosts and spirits, all of that stuff. I used to attend a spiritual church in the city with my mother some Sundays, and it had a lot of psychics and mediums. So I was exposed at a young age to psychic and medium readings, and pretty much what is on the other side of the veil. As I grew older, I had experiences myself with people in my life who were close and passed, and I would have visitations in my dreams and experience what that was like on the other side of the veil, connecting with them. And as it progressed, I would get intuitive hits, mostly about a close time to when someone was going to pass, unfortunately. So it would sort of give me a little bit of a heads up and begin to acclimate to what I was about to experience. As I got older, became involved in Reiki master, and healing. But it actually wasn't until I myself got very sick, which is a story of resistance. So always had this inner knowing, constantly felt prompted to sort of pivot my life and start following this path. But like most people, felt like I needed to have everything planned out, felt like I couldn't leave my 3D job before I knew what exactly I was going to do next. But ultimately, the universe, if you don't make the decision yourself, it will push you to make that choice. So I ended up getting quite sick. I developed breast cancer, as well as I had a chronic migraine condition that I had been dealing with for 15 years. I was losing vision in my right eye, which the optometrist couldn't really pinpoint on anything specific. They couldn't find anything, but it was still happening to me. So ultimately, it led to me being unable to work the job that I was already in. But in this state that I was in, I had no choice. I felt for myself, because I had people close to me go through breast cancer. I knew what that was like. I turned inward, and I really started. There's a story to this that I'll get in on my show through Janine, but I quit my job. I quit the medical system at the same time. So I did not receive any treatment. I didn't go down that path. I fully 100% leaned into myself. And that is when the true power of your focused conscious awareness really came to be for me. There was a deeper connection within myself that I was able to obtain, that I had never had truly felt the power of before. So even though you're supported by guides, even though all of these things that we're taught, especially in this community and the people involved in this community, the connection between your mental state and what it does to your physical body cannot be separated. So what I learned in this process, as well as in my background of being a QHHT practitioner, and over these last few years, witnessing thousands of people heal through themselves only. So not even, even though I believe supplements help you and things of that nature, definitely naturopathy and things like that. The power of our consciousness is the most advanced tool we have to literally heal all parts of our life and anything in our being. And
That's
I know that
fascinating and a profound statement. Don't go too fast. I want to break this down a little bit for the audience. They're new to you here. They're reacting to your story already in the live chat. Thank you, everyone, for the beautiful comments. If I may, Shannon, when I met you first, it was through the application form for the conference. And we had a team going through some of the applications. And when we saw yours and understood what you were about, Janine and I immediately lit up, because part of our future forecasting of where we wanted to go and where we understood our community wanted to go, not just in 25, but in 2026, was to get into this becoming the CEO of our own health. And also this idea that humans can, in fact, manifest reality, that we live very much in a self-serve reality. And your personal story and your background, what you've studied in and what you now teach, very much falls in line with that ethos. And we were very excited to have you on at the conference. A lot of people said here they met you there and your energy was absolutely through the roof, which I do agree. So thank you for that first introduction. If I may, with your permission also, Shannon, could I ask Janine to pull the cards on why specifically universe perhaps has maneuvered you to be the teacher that you are now in this specific field for this time now? As you said, you had these inklings before, you went to the Reiki master and all that, but at a certain point, the universe really pushed you into the deep end of the pool. And I'm curious as to the why, the timing of it, and why perhaps you, if you have perhaps ancestral background that could suggest also that you had healers in your family, perhaps in past lives also, or in your past lives, that could account to why you are here today speaking to the Beyond Mystic community. Can we do that poll, Shannon?
absolutely.
Okay, Janine.
Sorry, I was reading her face was saying yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so through hardship. So the hardship that Shannon experienced, like I feel like her higher self was talking to her for a long time before she got that ill. Can I be blunt like that, Shannon? Are you okay with that?
Absolutely. That is the truth.
Yeah. And she wasn't listening per se. And that happens to a lot of us, right? Because we don't always know what's being said to us, right? Like our bodies are talking to us, things are talking to us, but we're not always sure what message we're getting. And she was resisting, and it had to swack her one with some really big problem, like the breast cancer issue. Yep. And it was her higher self's way of saying, you need to. The judgment card is a big. It's basically a crossroads. So you were on the crossroads of, you go that way and then leave the earth plane at an early age, or you go this way. It's like her higher self said, you're going to have to make your decision what you're going to do here. And I do feel like she was like, this was a life mission. Okay, so this was given to her as a mission, and it was a problem she had to solve and then turn around, and it was going to make her the healer she is. So it was the way the universe got her to do the work she does. Okay, so it wasn't about the illness. It was about, okay, we have to get her understanding she's a healer. How
to get her on mission.
Yeah, we got to get her woke up to her mission. Okay, and she's a spiritual warrior, it looks like, and has become that because she chose the right path. There's two ways to go here, and you went the right way, the way your soul wanted you to go. You did the work, so it looks like you've added lots of things to your medicine bundle, like lots of training, and like trained yourself, but also maybe had some mentors learning some different things. You have all of these tools in your toolbox, but you also, through that illness and all the hard work you had to do, you became a warrior for yourself. And this is a thing that a lot of people don't understand. standing up for yourself and being there for yourself, loving yourself enough to actually do the work to move you onto the path where you're like, so just saying no to, I'm not going to be sick anymore. I'm not going to be like, loving yourself enough, take care of your own body first. So now you can turn around and have the energy to take care of others or help them learn how to take care of themselves. Does that make any sense?
That makes complete sense.
You needed the downtime. So the in-between time that got you here, you absolutely needed it, just to quiet the mind and listen. So that inward moment you do when you finally just went, okay, I gotta just go inward. That was the first of all the that was your first step here. That was that first judgment step. You knew it was like a life and death, I think, at that time. I think
I did.
Wow.
Janine.
That's fascinating. Now, Shannon, if I can ask you also, you mentioned your connection with Beyond Mystic through Janine. Share that with the audience members too, because that is very much a unifying link for many of us, right? It's not just COVID, it's not just the crazy events in the world, but something happened. Either it's a DNA memory that came up that all kind of pushed us to find this community and to on one hand share our medicine with this community, but also get the healing back from this community. It's very much an exchange. How was that connection for you, learning about Beyond Mystic, and how does that bring you to where you are today, Shannon?
Well, I think it happened all at pretty much the same time. So during the period of around 2020, I really didn't spend any time on YouTube or watching videos of that nature. I got my information from other places, but I wasn't, really on that truth path of that clearly everyone is sort of aligning to now. And I came across you and Janine doesn't really mention other people very often, but she had mentioned in one of her readings, she had mentioned Blossom Goodchild. And Blossom at the time had recently lost her husband, Goody, and she was part of a group that she had just started, held by a gentleman called Cornelius Christopher. And that is where I learned to do this. I'm still part of that group. And I learned from someone who has no inner voice. So the messages that consciousness conveys comes from everybody's true self. And the point that I'm trying to convey is the inner work has nothing to do with our mind or the mental plane. It absolutely has to do with the connection to the heart and loving yourself. And that is something that we don't typically learn growing up. We learn a lot of things from our parents, but not necessarily how to really love yourself. So being part of that group and watching beautiful, beautiful people who were also going through varying levels of illness and situations was a beautiful place to learn and watch and grow.
Fascinating. Now, you mentioned Reiki, you mentioned QHHT, quantum healing, hypnotherapy. People in the chat are also talking about Dr. Joe Dispenza, who had said that he had cured himself of this spinal cord through meditation. And now you're talking about Cornelius. So there's a lot of different angles here, but we're all talking about the same thing, the power of consciousness here in terms of basically hacking your reality. And that includes, of course, healing some wounded aspects of oneself. Where does that come into focus for you here? So you've got this group, you've got a support group, you're opening up to things outside of the medical system here as alternatives. A lot of them had, of course, already failed you, and you weren't sure about giving them any more respect or attention moving forward. As you said, you felt empowered to go within and to trust yourself to go get the information that was proper to you and your personal situation for your own healing, which very few people on the planet do. So one, congratulations for that. But how did that transformation take place from being very much, as you said, in the 3D job, originally inside the healthcare system, to now having to navigate this very nebulous field of alternative healthcare modalities, to coming to bridging some of these teachings, as you said, together into what you're doing today? Explain that transition for the audience members.
So, so the QHHT, even human design, Reiki, conscious healing with your consciousness, the stuff that Joe Dispenza does, it's all saying the same thing. It's all saying that the only way through is to go inward. And everything that how we operate as a human is very much giving away our power to external things everywhere we look. And so what it means to really go inward is to have a very clear signal. And so it's healing yourself is the same thing as manifestation, except you're healing your physical body instead of healing your money wounds or things of that nature.
Relationships, jobs, opportunities. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, yes, everything begins on the mental plane. So that's the first thing to know about everything in our reality. Even when you look around at physical objects or anything like that, everything in our reality came in as a thought first. You had to think it into being. It's the same exact way our bodies function. And so if you want to know what's going on in someone's mind, you only need to look at their exterior health. So you can correlate everything that's going on with your exterior physical health with a loop, a pattern, a belief that is replaying in your mind. And your thoughts can harm you, or they can make your life so much better. Right. But a lot of these deeply, deeply ingrained patterns are so deep that you're not even acknowledging that that's the signal you're sending out.
Right. Especially the subconscious stuff, like the old programs that have been imposed upon us since our kids, and also from those karmic wounds from before. There's a question on the site here. I want to get to that in just a moment. Fateful333, she says, what does it mean to go within? I'll get to that in just a moment, so don't forget that. But as people are looking into, recently it's become quite more of a thing. People are looking into this theory of manifestation, or the self-serve reality. A lot of people are quoting Neville Goddard's book and so many others. And in each of those teachings, they all absolutely say the same thing, that we are in fact basically agents of God, to where we are creating our own reality, which brings a lot of responsibility. And I remember Dr. Richard Allen Miller telling me the same thing in one of his episodes just before I lost my first YouTube channel, based on that episode. So I'll be very careful, but he was talking about the responsibility of the thoughts you hold. And that's going back to what you're just saying now. So on one hand, yes, you can use that to manifest positive things in your life, but so too is the truth that you can manifest the negative things in your life. And as you just said, without sometimes even knowing it. So there's probably a aha moment for you as you're going through all of your previous teachings, being part of this group, being aware of this new information field. Can you share with us where you went that, aha, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I can self-serve for myself? Can you share that, if it's not too personal, with the audience members? Because I think for a lot of them, they might react to that and have that instant, oh, I see what she's getting at now. And I feel that within me, as opposed to just these words on the screen. Go ahead.
So the biggest aha moment honestly came when you can give your body clear instruction. And if you do so with presence and trust, it responds because there's only one voice. So if you give your body instruction, there's nothing to tell it not to do that. The only thing that separates that from coming to fruition is your doubt. And so the biggest aha moment really is to maintain a clear and coherent signal of what it is you are trying to achieve. So you have discernment and you do not allow any other thought that would take you off your path to hijack your mind.
Right. Now, in Neville Goddard's experience, he talks about the pruning shears of the past, to where you can go back, re-edit the past to kind of edit your current, present, and in the future. For you, how did that transpire? Because you talked about having severe illness, now having access to this information field. There's always a moment, as you said there, doubt creeps in. You're seeing some success stories. You might even have your own success story as you start manipulating these fields of energy and consciousness and being direct, as you say. But doubt inevitably creeps in because we are kind of all humans who have gone through this. You can't do this, and that's not possible, and all that wants to interfere with that godlike nature of yours. How was it for you, and how did you approach it to your personal situation, Janine?
So, JC, within 30 days of starting a daily practice of about half an hour a day on myself, and I did my personal practice in the bathtub. There's a reason for that. Water is your friend, and you can instruct it to help you. It's an amplifier. It has light, it has structure, it carries information. So drinking intentional water was also part of this process. 100%. Water is your healing tool. You can use it to get better. So within 30 days, I was able to, without any special breath work or anything like that, I was able to sit in presence. And if I sat there long enough, focus. So I would place my focus on the area that I wanted healed. And I would allow nothing else into my mind. And I would start having a somatic experience. And so this was reaffirming to me that I was healing. And I could actually feel the lumps, I had two, getting smaller. So once that happened, I did not have that path of doubt because I knew 100% I was on my way. And this is really important because you cannot, you have to maintain that coherence within you, because we're constantly looking, again, for exterior validation of our bodies that it is healing. So it is healing. You're just not always going to feel it. So even in times where I had no somatic experience, had nothing, I was still healing by being consistent and coherent with what I was telling my body to do.
Okay, so two things there. I want to go back to the questioner. What does it mean for you to go within? And then also explain the somatic experience. Some people confuse that with psychosomatics. I just want to make it a little bit more clear for them. So first, what does it mean for you to go within?
Going within. So I'll talk about breast cancer specifically. So cancer in itself is heavier, dense emotions that have to do with heartbreak, sadness, grief, anger, or resentment held long term, either against others or yourself turned inward. And so breast cancer specifically has to do with not either feeling nurtured enough in your life or nurturing of others. And this is long-standing grief, pain, sadness, heartbreak, things of that nature. And so that's what I mean. You have to go to the heart of where it is on your body is going to let you know what it is you have to overcome in your mental process. So you have to let go of pattern, a loop, a belief that has been long-term running through your mind that you believe about yourself.
And tips or advice, because for many people who first embark on that road to go within and quiet the mind, because typically people will make the busy monkey mind to not have to deal with going within and some of those core wounds, because it is very scary and difficult to do so. And as people first attempt to go down that road, they hit that wall of fear. How was that for you? And what would you recommend in terms of strategy to push through that fear, to get to those core wounds and to get through, as you said at the beginning of the show, Shannon?
Well, and along that line of going inward, how many people watching right now have ever actually truly sat with themselves and conversed with yourself about how much you love yourself? So that is a way of going inward. Have a really in-depth conversation with yourself about everything that you love about yourself, and everything you don't. Converse about how you're not holding on to that any longer. You're not going to live that way anymore. And so it really is about being honest with yourself and the things that you're carrying through life.
That's beautiful. And also from a love frequency, as you just mentioned, I love that. Okay, and the other question was the somatic experience.
Oh,
Share
yeah.
what you mean by that as well.
Somatic experience. So I've seen many people have somatic experiences, and they're all different and unique to everybody. And so that's the other thing I want to mention is anything can be a healing technique. It's the intention behind it. Consciousness is unique to every single one of us, and absolutely nobody heals the same way. And so there is no doing it wrong if you sit in presence with yourself in an honest and loving fashion. You cannot do it wrong if you're truly doing that. And so that's what I mean. Every single person out there watching this has the capacity to do this exactly the same. Consciousness works the same way for everybody. You just have to commit to yourself. And so somatic experiences can look like your body is shaking, contorting. You could spontaneously start to go into light language, either through verbal or your hands, but lots of shaking. And a lot of people try to even suppress when that comes about. To be honest with you, the first time I went into my first somatic experience this way, I sort of, in my mind, and I was early into this process, was wondering, because I was sort of like shaking. I was like, oh, is this some other type of thing I'm developing now where I have a twitch? But no, that was just the beginning. And the more I let go and surrendered, then it would kick into my full body. But it's unique to everyone. It's really holding your body in a state of absolute surrender, allowing whatever needs to take place.
I love that. Okay, where do I want to go with this next? A couple of angles here. Now, the going within part, the reason I asked you some tips and tools, you gave us some, but for some people, similar to working with crystals, when you start working with crystals, they do hold different frequencies. They can be used as transmitters and receivers, similar to some of the strategies you're using in the bathtub for the same reasons. But they are ultimately things outside of yourself, right? But for some people, they need to begin with something that is physical, that they can hold on to, that is outside of themselves, to at least more quickly tune them to whatever frequency they're trying to reach for this somatic experience or this healing experience. Now, in human design, you have a lot of gene keys there also to give you clues, perhaps, as to who you truly are, who you're supposed to be, your mission, whether you're a manifester, and such. And that can also help you at least get you started on that way to eventually go within and have your own internal conversation. But for some people, that seems a little bit too difficult at first without any of these little, dare I say, crutches to begin with. So as part of the first service you're offering the community here on Beyond Mystic, you're talking about here now the human design aspect as perhaps a gateway, so to speak, to get into this work here and getting some external data that is not yet known to you to kind of point you into those right directions. Can you explain that? I've had a human design consultant on the show 5 years ago, and I haven't had any since, and I've been looking for a good one ever since. And so when you applied and you said that you were proficient in here, I was so ecstatic to share that with the audience members here, because I do believe there's a wealth of information in these sessions here that can really supercharge the response time and the people's ability to stick with it, especially at first here when they get into this new modality where they are the CEO here of their own health development. So let's talk about human design here a little bit for the audience members who have not heard what that is. Start there, Shannon.
So human design is a wonderful tool to really assist you in knowing who you are and who you are not. So it is a synthesis of your design, so your unconscious side, and your personality, your conscious side. So it helps with relationships. It helps with really having a good idea of what it is you've chosen to express and experience in this incarnation. It is wonderful for adults. It is even more helpful for young adults and youth. An excellent gift if you have someone in high school or early 20s and they're really looking to get a more firm grounding on who it is they really are. Human design can help with that because it clearly identifies in the chart where you are very susceptible to conditioning.
Very good. Very good. Okay. I love the personality energy types also in terms of who you are and what you're supposed to do and how you can use that. Sometimes people don't even know who they are and what they're supposed to do. And when you first see that chart of your makeup, it's often an aha moment for people, similar to having an astrology reading and realize, oh wait, that's super interesting. Nobody's ever told me that, and now I see it, or now I understand why I do these things. Janine just had that experience last couple of days with Astrid when she decoded her transits and some of her themes for 2026. Now, Janine, let me ask you. So going back to the forward guidance you and I have been talking about here, moving into the end of 25 and 26 in the health field. Now, part of the conference that's coming up now for Beyond Mystic has to do with longevity. So we're moving the conversation and the dial forward to bring this information field to the audience members as a stepping stone here to, again, empower them to be the CEO of their own health here. Partly because we're seeing the world and big pharma collapsing in and of itself right now. So we are going to be needing alternatives just because of that, but partly also because humanity, as we go through this transformation, is going to be uplifted, or the veil is going to be lifted to where we actually understand our true nature and our ability to manifest our reality. And we are very much in the need for these teachings to do that in a responsible manner, both for the people we love, but also, of course, starting with ourselves. So Janine, why is this content so important to focus on for the Beyond Mystic community here moving into 2026, even though there's all of this major chaos happening in the 3D world around us? Why is it so important to go within and to look at these aspects here that Shannon is going to be developing on a weekly basis here, moving forward on Beyond Mystic here on this brand new show, Beyond Healing? Janine, I think you muted on your side, Janine.
My opinion about that is, I don't know what the cards are going to say, but my opinion about that is we're going to need that to look forward to. And this community has done a lot of work, a lot of legwork, and we're a little ahead of the curve. And when everything starts really, hitting the fan, there's going to be a lot of people that need leadership, and or at least going to need some examples of how to get through it in a safe and comfortable way, how to get through what they're just finding out and what we already knew. And we're going to even have some big hits too, because there's things we're going to learn as well. But our curve is a little smaller than theirs is going to be the regular folks. So I feel like this will give us something to look forward to, and this is going to give us something to help us through anything. It's almost like an advanced. Like we're already in an advanced group, and that's not to belittle people that don't watch programs like this or aren't involved in the community, but we're already a little advanced here. So this new gift that Shannon's bringing is going to help the teachers be even in better shape, know themselves even better. I feel like she's speaking to a higher, even like a person needs to already have done some spiritual work to even grasp what Shannon's bringing. And to me, it's like the teachers are going to need this. So this community is going to need her and need the work she's doing to help us help those other people. We need to get in our best form. Like, I'm already really excited. I need some of this work, Shannon. I really do. And it's so exciting because I hit a wall. Like, I've got a lot of the other things in place. And I think a lot of people will agree with me. We got all these things in place and we've been doing all of this work, but then I keep experiencing a lot of physical pain, and I know that what you're talking about, I know that can work. I just need a little guidance on how to turn it inward again and get it to work for me. I'm really good at manifesting this and that and this other thing, but then I kind of forgot about my own physical body. So I'm super excited for you to be on the team. I think the teachers need you. I think you're more advanced, Stephen. Like, you're going to help us with that further advancement so we can keep doing the good work and get in and use our longevity that I believe we're going to manifest more longevity, but we're going to want to be healthy doing it. Like, I don't want to live another 100 years if I'm aching and I can't get to sleep at night because I hurt. And you know what I mean? I got to let these things go. And so you're going to help with that part. So you're a part of the flattened wheel. Like, we need all the wheels to be working, and I feel like you're bringing something that, from my perspective, I'm missing. So I'm really excited that you're here.
Well, thank you, Janine. Somebody in the chat says Shannon is the missing link to Beyond Mystic team. Yeah, I think so too, and that's what Janine just said in her own words. Your first reaction to that, also, Shannon, before she pulls on the cards?
Honestly, thank you so much, Janine, for your kind words. It means a lot to me. And speaking about longevity and everything else, yeah, if you go within, you will start to look younger. Working on your organs, clearing up your organs are going to make its way outward and create more youth in your body. Every single organ and system in our vessel regenerates, we'll say on average every 7 years. I mean, they're all different, but on average every 7 years. And so then we need to ask, why do we continue to age if everything in our body regenerates every 7 years? And that's because we're copying over old hard drive information onto our new cells. And so if we start to change, again, our internal thoughts, because aging is just an illusion that we've been conditioned to believe, then our external will start reflecting that.
Yeah, very nice. Somebody's asking, will this be on Rumble or IAP? No, this is going to be on Rumble, YouTube, and Twitter on a weekly basis here, starting next Tuesday at, is it 7 o'clock Eastern? Yes, at 7 o'clock Eastern, guys. So this is a show that we're doing open to the public at large. We want to share this as far as wide as we can. And also, just judging by what you said, and sorry, I dropped the connection there as you were answering, Janine, I had to go through many iterations of this poster, and I was trying to get my head around how do I communicate what it is that we're going to be going through with the information, and with Shannon herself here with this energy field and this new modality that, as you were saying, Janine, we all need right now at various levels. And this is where I came up with this portal concept. We had to go through it. There is a dark spot in there, that's the going within. But I hope that it conveys where Shannon is going with all of this. At any rate, Janine, what do the cards say? You gave your personal opinion, which was absolutely fabulous. Let's see what Universe also wants to add for the audience members there.
Well, a lot of us are coming even to this community with a lot of wounds and hurt, and some of them are really old, and we don't even realize. And Shannon, you mentioned that, you said we could be unconsciously reiterating something in the back of our mind, not even realizing. And I believe that's to be true. Okay. Cause I do consciously really try to do a lot of the things you talk about. And I've definitely not been able to get rid of some things. So something's going on there. Right. And so that's what this says. Right. So it says that's we're bringing this. Okay. And we need to birth out of this, or let this go, but in a loving way through the heart. Like it has to come through a heartfelt desire to let that go. Also the desire, because we love ourselves, to give ourselves that break, because we don't deserve to. If we're working this hard, we don't need to be walking around hurting. We don't need to be walking around with breast cancer. We don't need to go through those things. It's like, why do we need that pain? Okay. We're already doing so much work down here. Okay. That just adds discomfort. So what's that all about? Right. So it says through the heart, we're going to, through love and self-love, we're going to learn how to understand and let go of whatever those old voices are. But they could be so old, like you said, we don't even realize we have them. Okay. And we've been carrying them around maybe even for lifetimes, because this card's a really ancient card. Those wounds could even come through like lifetimes of traumas and things that have happened to us. So that's how deep that is. Okay. So we're going to need some guidance on that. Okay. And so having somebody who kind of has worked through this themselves, that's going to be really helpful. And here we've got the Page of Pentacles here. So even just little tools, adding just little tools to our toolkit. Okay, one little a thing at a time. Like when you said you do your work in water, okay, right away I was like, oh my goodness, I've always been drawn to bathing and salt baths, and I do a lot of my meditative time in water. If I could use that tool even a step further with some of your guidance, that's really exciting to me, because I already see that it's a good conductor. I even put things in the water, like I'll bring a feather in there that I'm working with, spiritual tools like tourmaline, my crystals, things like that. So if I could have even an extra technique to make that water experience more powerful, it's like, wow, okay, we just need little techniques. Okay, there's a whole community of really spiritual minded people. If we gather together and learn a few more new techniques, you're like bringing us some things we can tweak our work with. It's really exciting. The universe looks really excited about it. We need to leave behind, like this is underneath the Three of Swords, forever, these old voices, and really come into our intuitive knowing through self-loving who we truly are and what our gifts are, and focus on that, and we'll become more of those gifts and leave this behind. These are old ideas about ourselves.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you, Janine. That gives us a lot of insight. Okay, where do I want to go next? I know that Shannon, Janine, and I have been talking about offering to the community group coaching sessions. Again, they're here to help with accountability, to keep people motivated. That's coming very soon, and that's going to be seated on the Academy. For now, we're doing this show for free for you guys here, the Beyond Healing, on a weekly basis. And of course, Shannon is available also for the consultations here on human design. Now, can you, you've explained what human design is. to some extent. We could do a whole hour show on just that. But for the people who are interested in what you're saying and who want to get a little bit of a leg up to understand themselves a little bit better, explain to them what this session is going to look like for them and what's the outcome of this session if they go through this with you. What does that look like, and how does that empower them to at least get on this path here with you as we get later on here to perhaps doing some group coaching sessions also on the Academy, Shannon?
So it's going through your entire chart. All of the centers, your lines and channels, a little bit on your incarnation cross, what you're here to really experience and how. And it's an hour and a half because I can't make it just an hour. I love to chat and get to know people a little more in depth. I'm also a human design analyst that is not necessarily a Puritan. I'm more integrative. So I also bring a lot of the knowledge of consciousness into the readings that I have with individuals. And so we would go through that, and I provide the chart and the recorded playback as well. And you can really ask any questions that you like, your purpose, things that are plaguing you or bothering you, things, relationship, how that translates, how connections are created. Really anything. You can bring any questions to the consultation.
Okay, very good. So not necessarily derived from a health perspective, but it's more about understanding oneself here so that you can get to the next step then, and also supercharging all of your manifestations. So I absolutely love this, and I want to thank you for offering this service here off the gate for the audience members. Guys, again, somebody says, yeah, ready to book with Shannon here. Don't forget to use the coupon code Beyond Mystic. You'll get 10% off of that consulting fee there. I see there's bookings already going through the website, and one or two have forgotten to put the coupon code. So if you email Sarah, she'll make that right for you, and she'll refund you the coupon percentage for you guys. So don't forget that. One word, Beyond Mystic, you'll get 10% off there. Now, I do want to maybe give a bit of a hint or an inkling as to where you want to go developing this content and the show. Like, what's your, I want the cards also, Janine, to chime in on this, but where do you feel is appropriate to start with laying down the groundwork for this conversation? Again, we have to do it in a responsible manner. Every time you touch the self-serve reality, you have to be very careful that the audience doesn't slip into the fear factor or the doubt factor. You've talked about this at the beginning of the show. So navigating this conversation, it can be triggering for some at some times, and we're going to have to do that very carefully. So I'm curious what you're excited about, what you're passionate about. For sure, you're going to be talking about your personal story here moving forward, but what else can people expect here if they tune in to the Tuesday night shows here at 7 p.m. Eastern? Shannon?
They can definitely expect information on truly how to harness the power of their consciousness. So I dive into consciousness, I dive into water more deeply, I dive into the power of healing in a group environment and the impact that that can have. And again, that comes from personal experience, where I've even been part of a group that a member in that group had a stroke mid-group healing session, and everyone put their focused energy and attention on that person, and they healed remarkably well. Wow. So it's going to be all different topics of conversation regarding healing, but all of them conveying the power that you have. And this, you can use the power of your own consciousness to heal things that you might have done to your body that you regret now. There's a way to free yourself from anything that you've injected, anything like that. The power of your consciousness can clear it.
Wow. That's fascinating. Okay. And so no prerequisites for the show. It's a fun show, lots of information. You'll be taking questions, comments. This is a live show as well. You feel comfortable with that moving forward?
Absolutely.
Okay. Very cool. I'm excited for that as well. Coco in the chat says, welcome, Shannon. Thank you, Coco, for being up this late and helping the show go along smoothly. Thank you so much. And guys, don't forget to watch Coco tomorrow for the Coco show. And the brand new show also Sunday night with the young lad here, Max, is going to be joining us at 8 o'clock Eastern. So Janine, same question to you here with respect to the show. Is there any advice from Universe? As I said here, this is a very important topic. It is perhaps the key to humanity up-leveling and becoming the true sovereign beings that we truly are, void of this matrix of control that we're all suffering from. So this is a very important topic. Is there any advice from Universe also as to perhaps either the themes or the methods by which some of this information can be transferred best to the audience members with the brand new show here, Beyond Healing? Janine.
Yeah, there's that Three of Swords again. So again, and I'm sure this is part of her work she'll do with us, but really focusing on and discovering. So it's a big opportunity for people, and even just having this conversation. So many things are going through my mind. I can't wait actually to get in the tub after this. So many things, because I want to discover. I'm excited to discover what is the thing going, playing. What is the tape playing that I'm not aware of? I feel like some focus on that. I think a lot of people will get a lot out of discovering that, so they can let go of it. Okay. And just having these conversations will trigger people to think about that, go inward in their meditation times or their alone times. And it'll come up just because we're having the conversation. So even just this conversation we're having right now with Shannon, I feel like it's already got me just going. Okay. I'm probably not going to go to bed early tonight because of this. Is that I'm thinking like I'm really searching my mind. Okay. And so many people are going to it's going to stir people up. It's going to stir people up, and they're going to have to really, it's exciting. They're going to get passionate about it, people watching. And I feel like it's going to bring up a lot of things for people, and not always good things. Okay. It's going to get them to really look inward and discover. And what some of us are going to discover is that the voice that they're trying to come up and heal from and let go of forever is a voice that was planted by not ourselves or even our own traumas, but the deep state, the dark cult, the programming. So some of us will discover that voice was given to us through the food we're eating, we've been fed, and the lies we've been fed. So everybody's got one of those voices, because we all grew up in a slave, enslaved, and we didn't even realize it. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, but also we're going to really need to work through it together. Like, I feel like it'll be a whole cycle for some people, because some of it'll be ouchy and hurtful for them to realize they've been indoctrined with that. It didn't even come from their own experiences.
Mm-hmm. Wow, fascinating. Thank you, Jenny. Any reaction to the cards there also, Shannon? Anything you want to add to that?
You're right on point, Janine. Absolutely. Some of the things that get brought up are triggering for individuals. And if you are struggling with a health-related condition, people want to get better, but often without changing things in their life. And those things are not separate of each other, because what you've been doing has got you to this place. And so things must change in order for you to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be very triggering for people or people around you.
Absolutely. I remember one of my mentors, I was very young, in my early 20s, and I didn't really understand I do now, and you're echoing that statement. He said something to the king of, if you want things to change in your life, you have to change the things in your life, right? So you're touching on that now. And I think part of why now is because I think we're ready. 2020 was this initiation period to where many of us, like you, like Janine, like myself, we were pushed out into the wild here from universe to get onto mission, and that has been a difficult road, but a very rewarding road. And as we've built this community, and this community has leaned on each other over the last number of years, we've come to a position now of maybe a little bit more stability, a little bit more understanding, and definitely more readiness now to go within, as you're saying here, and to change those things, because we feel now perhaps more empowered than we ever were before. Even though in the last 5 years it might have looked bleak to the point where, oh my God, there's going to be Nazis on every corner, and we're going to be forced to do this and do that. It was really kind of that crucible to bring us here. And those who have survived and thrived all those last 5 years are now absolutely ready for this. And I find it very exciting. And I think you're right on time. I want to thank Universe for bringing Shannon into the Beyond Mystic community. And I want to thank Shannon for also being the brave woman that you are, going through your own personal trajectory, and now having also the wherewithal and the not just earnestness, but this feeling to where you know deep down that you have to share this, that this is part of your mission, even though it's not easy to share personal stuff on a wild scale like that. I really want to applaud you and thank you for doing that. And I think that is very much needed right now. So last words of wisdom. So I'm going to ask Janine for words of wisdom before we go. For you, Shannon, before we go, I think what I'd like to do is leave the audience members with perhaps a snippet of how they can get started tonight. Doesn't need to be a big thing. It could be a small thing. In Neville Goddard's teachings, he talks about this 2-chair exercise, to where you sit in one chair and you imagine yourself in the other chair and you go back and forth, simply to loosen that consciousness that has been trapped here, so that you can understand that it is much more, and that you have way more control over it than you really do. That's one exercise that he has. What would you share with the audience members as a quick tip or a fun exercise that can get them started to understand that, oh my God, there's way more than meets the eye here too, and if they can do it, I can do it. Like we were saying at the conference, we want the audience to leave with that thought here tonight. What would you share with them, Shannon?
Well, if you want to use water to get started, so firstly, anytime you drink water or eat food, place intention into it, because you're changing the vibration of it. So number one. Number two, if you want a little manifestation technique to use with water, take 2 glasses of water. In that first glass of water, as you're holding it, place all of the gratitude for the things that you have in life right now. So, and connect emotionally to these things. Convey real gratitude for your life and the things that you hold dear to you right now. In the second glass of water, put all of your intentions and emotions into the experiences you wish to have in the future, the things that you want to do, be, experience. Then take both those glasses, blend them together, and drink the water. That's sending information to the body.
I was sending the links in the live chat there. Smiles111 is asking, hey, where can I find the links to book with Shannon? I missed part of that second glass of water. Say that to me one more time. I think that's fascinating, but I missed part of it, Shannon. Go ahead.
So with the second glass of water, you're going to emotionally connect to your future self and the experiences, emotions, and situations that exactly.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a good one. I love that. Thank you, Shannon. And Smiles111, you'll see the links are in the live chat. They're also in the description box below. But to make it easy also for you guys, just go to beyondmystic.net. At the top of the page there's a link to the consultation page. I'll show you that now. There you go, consultations. And there you go. You'll find Shannon on that page right here. There you go. Okay, Janine. Last words of wisdom before we go on this topic. You want to speak from the heart? You want to share with the cards? What do you think?
Wow. Okay. I'm so excited. I'm going to go do that water. This is really exciting for me because this is the one flat tire I have. I think I got a lot of the other stuff. But I really do fall down in the being a Taurus. Like I like my like food a lot, and like and the idea of ritualing and ritualizing that altering, like an altar, make it an altar, like your consumption. So what you're eating and what it'll make me more conscientious of what I'm ingesting. And also like that spiritual feeling. I love that idea of, because already when I cook, I put intention into my meals. So it's really exciting to think about the water thing. I hadn't thought about that. Holding the water, two separate glasses, like, correct me if I got this right. So I'm going to put my intention of everything I'm thankful for and happy about, which I love that idea, into that one glass before I drink it. And then my other glass, I'm going to the future and imagining, in my case, I'm going to be imagining not getting up with all the aches and pains and not having this shoulder issue I've had for a really long time, which I found out was feeling gulled, this particular shoulder, which makes a lot of sense because the goal of the deep state and the overlords to do this. Absolutely. And the goal of my family for not inviting me to Christmas, those years in the lockdowns. And the idea of feeling that has absolutely, I just figured that out not too long ago. That's what's going on with my shoulder. So I'm so excited. So I'm going to imagine all of that. Then I am going to put those glasses together and I'm going to drink it. And like, what a gift just saying that you just gave everybody. I just want to thank you. I'm so excited, actually.
Thank you both very, very much.
Well, thank you for being on, Shannon. Thank you, Janine, for all those personal insights as well. Thank you, everyone in the live chat, for bearing with us. I know this was a long episode here tonight. If you're still here, there's quite a few still in the live chat. Please leave us a link down below. Let us know perhaps some of the topics also you would like Shannon to share on her next upcoming show here next Tuesday night. I'm sure she'll be reading the comments and sharing with you in that communication. In the meantime, of course, if you want to get started also with your human design blueprint, please check out Shannon here on the consultation page on Beyond Mystic. Don't forget the coupon code Beyond Mystic in one word. And before we leave, one last time, also, please remember to join Janine and I this Sunday night for the new series here entitled Beyond Critical with the lovely and talented 20-year-old Max. I can't wait to share this young lad with you guys. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening. And yeah, have a great evening, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.
Au revoir.